Comparing machines like the dual action polisher and rotary is basically comparing an apple to an orange because both machines are entirely different. But like the orange and apple, they both grow on tree, they both are fruits, and it's meant for consumption. Likewise, the rotary and dual action polisher are polishing tools used in detailing. It should be weighted against one another to understand the similarities within the dissimilarities.
We know there's plenty of information on the differences between a dual action and a rotary polisher. But we wanted this video to reflect the real-life detailing scenarios through demonstration and to delve deeper into where each machine would excel, underperform, or even overperform. This is so you can be better informed to make better decisions, not just based on paper specifications.
Jom kita mulakan. Oi.
What? English.
Almost a decade ago, before the invention or popularity of a dual action polisher, the detailing industry was a battle of skills and techniques when it comes to polishing. Swirl-free and hologram-free on a soft paint was the test of a true detailer.
And like everything else, technological advancement affected processes as well as the choice of tools. In the past, short-throw orbital polishers were no match for rotary polishers and were mostly used for glazing and waxing. However, in recent years, we've experienced so much improvements with the dual-action polisher until the rotary polisher has little to no limelight. But has the rotary polisher been completely replaced by the dual-action polisher? Here's a list of differences that you might already be familiar with about both machines.
Having faster and more cut is actually an advantage when dealing with a hard paint or scratch-resistant paint. But having more cut also means higher risk of burning paint and leaving behind more visible defects such as hologram or buffle swirls, which is a disadvantage. So we put this to a test. These panels are actually sent down with 3 different grids: 2000, 1500 and 800. They are painted by the same painter with the same paint. Removing a severe defect on this sort of paint would require more cut, and that is where theoretically a rotary machine would excel.
Which brings us to our second point that isn't really talked about much. Both machines have different options for pads, backing plates, and accessories. Take the 4-ply twisted wool for example. It's a great cutting pad that more often than not overperforms at cutting because it leaves too much of its own defects. But it works fast at removing severe defects such as sanding marks and deeply etched water spots. This combination of the 4-ply twisted wool and the rotary polisher is an exclusive partnership, and it isn't something that you see on a dual-action polisher.
The dual action polisher has the microfiber cutting pad, which is also great because it works really well with a dual action polisher. And on most hard paints, it leaves little to almost zero defects. Even if there's one, more often than not, it is easy to refine. And this pad is just weird if you try to use it on the rotary polisher.
The one thing I like about the rotary polisher is the ability to switch to various sized backing plates to work on different parts of the car, such as headlamps and chrome trim. Polishing these parts with a rotary polisher gives me more control toward the edges. I don't need to worry about my pad or backing plate knocking on the adjacent panels caused by the orbiting action of a dual action polisher. And you can also attach an extension shaft to elongate your reach for harder to reach areas.
Now when it comes to user-friendliness, the dual action polisher seems to be the preferred polisher. But does that mean that mastering the rotary polisher is actually more difficult? The fundamental techniques are not really far apart from one another. For example, the pad and surface contact. The pad needs to be in contact with the surface if you wish to polish it, whether it is a DA or a rotary.
Another example is hand speed. Faster or slower hand speed affect both machines the same. Slower hand speed will give you more cut, while a faster hand speed will give you less cut. Although generally, the rotary polisher does require faster hand speed compared to the dual action polisher. Other techniques such as pressure, machine speed, tilting of pads on curvy angles, pad and liquid combination, and even machine handling are techniques that need to be familiarized on both machines. For example, both the DA and the rotary will have higher cutting from higher machine speed. Conversely, in terms of keeping the pad flat, Rotary polisher users will generally tend to tilt the pad to gain more cutting power, while DA users tend to keep the pad flat and increase pressure. There are certain techniques that are consistent with rotary and dual action polishers, but there are also some that are exclusive to each machine. This is the similarity within the dissimilarity.
So let's address the obvious. Is the rotary polisher really that scary? If you search up on rotary, there is a notion or common perception that it is easier to burn paint with it. But the real question is, how easy?
To be clear, both the DA and rotary polisher are fully capable of striking through paint by over-polishing. The risk of striking through is higher on edges or sharply angled panels. An experienced detailer would take caution by slowing down the machine or to tape the adjacent panel's edge when polishing these riskier areas. It is also possible to strike through on a flat panel when you're trying to chase a scratch or a defect that is too deep.
So let's put this to the test, and no, we wouldn't be demonstrating on a flat panel because nobody polishes that way, but instead near a protruding or sharp edge, and we will actually try to strike through the paint through both machines. The rotary will be used at a speed 2 because that's the common speed that we'll be using to compound, and it will be paired with a wool pad and a compound abrasive. The dual action polisher will be going around speed 4.5. Again, the usual speed that we'll be using to compound.
Lastly, an important aspect to consider between the two machines is the overall working time. The rotary might cut faster, but on a whole, does it correct paint faster than a DA polisher? With the rotary polisher, you might require more steps and even skills to finish and refine the paintwork. So if we take the entire paint correction process into account, from heavy compounding to final finishing, the DA might actually take less time than a rotary due to the fewer polishing steps required. The DA might be able to get the job done with 2 steps compared to 3 to 4 steps on a rotary.
If you are watching this to decide whether to get the rotary or the dual action polisher, and you are only allowed to get one, our answer is to get dual action polisher first, and it is for a couple of good reasons. Reason number 1, most common defects can be repaired or resolved with a dual action polisher, unless you are a car painter and have to fix severe sanding marks or orange peel within a short period of time. But in most cases, even for a detailer, a dual action polisher would suffice. Reason number 2, for what lacks in the dual action polisher rapid cutting ability, can be substituted with a more aggressive combination such as the velvet or jeans pad, or with leveling compound, or even simply perform more passes. You heard me right? The leveling method has actually existed over 20 years in Asian countries and has been matured and improved tremendously over the years. We don't actually live on trees, we have concrete buildings and internet.
So, when should you consider getting a rotary polisher? If you are detailing commercially and would like to offer restoration on other parts of the car such as headlamps and chrome trim, then it would make sense for you to have this tool added to your arsenal. Plus, you never know when you might encounter a severe defect one day that might require the stronger cutting power of a rotary polisher. So we'll say that the DA polisher does not fully replace the rotary polisher. They each have their unique uses and advantages. There isn't much of a point comparing an orange to an apple, and since these are the tools that we have at our disposal, why not make the best out of both?
If you have any questions, feel free to ask us in the comment section. If you'd like to see more videos like this, make sure you hit the like buttons so more people are actually able to know about our videos. And if you love it, hit the subscribe button. Okay, thanks, bye!
Wow, talk slang, damn hard way. I don't know how to walk.
You should feel proud to be a Malaysian.
Yeah man, Malaysian man. Woo.